Would it be rude to give my daughter's friends deodorant? Just don't do what my older brother did. He opened the door to my room, threw a speed stick directly at me, turned around and walked away. It was effective though. I think the more mature thing to do would bring it up with the parents rather than potentially embarrassing the girls. One time this kid in my 3rd grade class had really bad BO and the teachers thought it was a good idea to buy him lots of soaps, deodorant, etc., etc. They gifted it to him in a grand gesture in front of the class. Aside from the fact that they had not, from my understanding, spoken to his parents it seems, and that they did this in front of the class, that of which half of them bullied the kid for smelling. Even I as a little kid back then couldn't shake the thought of how incredibly embarrassing and rude that was. To this day I still find it horribly rude. I would speak with their parents. Don't embarrass the young children. These kids are over at your house every day. Invite the parents or mom over too, to hang out and chat. Bring it up about how the girls are getting older. You're noticing your little one is having hygiene stuff whatever going on and how you have to start talking to her about deodorant and nail cleaning and hair brushing whatever yada yada and try to bridge it that way. See what she says or is aware of. Press the issue of you must, man, the girls get too stinky after all that playing. Would you mind if I offered them some deodorant when I give it to my little girl too? So she doesn't feel weird? They could all use it, am I right? Quote. Talk to the parents. Would you want someone's mom to send your kid home with a package that basically says she stinks? Do they go to the same school as your daughter? If so, bring it up with the teacher. She can talk to the class about hygiene, deodorant, etc. It sounds weird, but I teach and it's actually a very common class conversation. That way it's neutral and it's not directed just at these kids. Especially if the kid is 8, then it's likely they need to be taught about showering, changing underwear, etc. Because along with the BO smell there's probably other issues. Just talk to the parents. Clearly it's time for the "your body is changing" talk. It isn't your place to tell them, give them things. It will make them feel dirty and will think something is wrong with them. I'd talk to the parents. Some people don't believe in deodorant, that it is unhealthy. If you send them home with some or could upset the parents. I can literally imagine a post coming up in 4 to 5 years saying, "When I was 10 my friend's dad gave me deodorant. And it's plagued my mind to this day." Personally, I wouldn't give them anything without either speaking to the parents or knowing the root cause. I say this because there's a lady at my work who smells of BO every single day. It's strong to the point that if you get too close it makes your eyes water. She's not an unhygienic person. Always dressed well and looking lovely. Her BO scent is due to the fact that she has cancer and undergoing treatment. She literally can't help the smell. So I'd want to know if the smell is simply them not bathing enough, properly, or something medical related. My husband and Mill say it's a bad idea, and even if the kids don't realize, their parents could get offended. This is correct. But perhaps it's worth offending them now rather than being really embarrassed, offended years from now. It's up to you if you want to be the target of their wrath. Just make sure they stink out of ignorance and not because of a bad home life. We all knew that one kid back in elementary school that didn't smell good, and I know we all wish that we were a little more compassionate and knowledgeable as a child to know that it wasn't their fault. I grew up in a home where my mom never taught me basic hygiene. Not did she supply the necessary tools. Sometimes I smelled. No. Oftentimes I smelled. Kids were cruel. They teased me for it incessantly. I was absolutely aware and borderline powerless to change it. One time the school counselor gave me a little hygiene pack and said, "As nice as humanly possible that I stink." I've never felt so small than I did in that moment. 25 years later, I'm still incredibly self-conscious about my scent. Enough people talked about how bad I smelled that they told on me and the school stepped in. But they didn't step in enough to help me with the hoarded home I was in. They didn't help enough to teach me how to not stink. They didn't help enough to tell me it's not my fault. They did what made them feel better. Please don't do that to this child. Even if you mean it with the kindest of hearts, it's cruel. Because all she's gonna hear is that she stinks. She won't hear that you care about her. It's highly likely the parents will be offended. Instead, if it were me, I'd have a conversation with the girl's parents. A very polite conversation. Don't sound judgmental, but just matter of fact. Maybe mask it behind concern that the girl is suffering from a health condition. Be advised, however, you'll likely offend the parents regardless. If it were me, I'd still have the conversation anyways, hoping that despite being offended, the parents will take steps to take care of the problem. I'd talk to their parents first. At that age it is unlikely BO but wider hygiene issues. Giving them deodorant is not likely to help. You could politely reach out to the parents. But they are probably part of the problem. You could speak to the kids and try and teach good hygiene to them. For their sakes, talk to their parents. Maybe the girls aren't getting their clothes washed. Or maybe their parents just don't make them bathe often enough. Heck, maybe their parents' hygiene is messed up too. In which case I'd try to get in contact with the school if you're concerned enough. I'd do a spa day with all the kids, where you use all the products and send them home with the remainders. But I would include non-hygiene items like hair ties, bands, a matching team shirt for each, treats leftover from having a high tea, water balloons, face paint, etc. Get the kids clean first by putting a tarp down on the grass and covering it with bubble bath in. Adding a little water, it makes a great slip and slide. This will get the kids smelling clean and wear them out a little lull. And they will be able to experience the contrast between their normal smell and the new, special smell. The new team shirts will eliminate them smelling the old body odor. Having fun is the highest priority and the good feelings will be associated with the good smells. Smiley face. Okay, I have input. When I was probably 8 or 10, I showed up to my friend's house wearing socks I had worn the day before. And to bed. Gross. OBV. Friend's parents asked if I smelled that smell and eventually let me wash my feet and gave me clean socks. Super embarrassing to the point of being unforgettable. But a good lesson learned. Are you sure the body odor would be cured by deodorant? I ask because in high school we had some kids who were absolutely tortured for smelling bad, or just strong, but it was actually their diet. It wasn't anything unhealthy. It was just the spices that were heavy in certain diets. And their families and friends didn't notice. But their lives were a living hell in school.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.